Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Jocelyn, pelvic floor physical therapist, founder of the Vagina Doc, and in this video, I'm gonna go over the step up. The purpose of the step up is, there's many, but basically it's to train single leg strength, stability, or power as you are going up a step. Target muscles that you're working for the step up depends on the execution. It is going to be the muscles that, like quads and glutes and hamstrings, that are working to either control hip and knee flexion going down, and then ankle flexion as well, and then as the prime movers to drive hip and knee and ankle extension on the way up. Basics of the step up are going to be as you step on the step, knee is in line with your foot and pelvis stays level as you step up. And you can either switch legs as you go down or go down on the same leg. If you go down on the same leg, you're training the same muscle groups to drive the movement and they're shortening. If you are, and then on the way down, they're working to control the motion. As you are going through the step up, you want to make sure that your starting position is neutral. So if you're more on the tilted side, get your pelvis underneath you to get a neutral spine position and your ribs stacked over your pelvis, utilizing the deep core versus tucking with your glute muscles. Now, spine stays in neutral the whole time. 3 different strategies for the step up. We have the balanced or hip dominant strategy, where your starting position, your whole foot is on the step. You hinge from your hips, spine stays in neutral, and then you stand back up. And as you go back down, whether or not you switch, you tip from your hip the same way to go back down. It's pretty exaggerated. All the while making sure your knee stays out. For the thigh dominant strategy, torso stays more upright as you go up and down. And then for the ankle dominant strategy, you're powering off the back foot and controlling your ankle as you come back down. Next I'm going to go into how to enhance each of those strategies. So for the hip dominant strategy, squeeze your glutes, press your heel and the ball of your foot and toes down as you go up and down. Squeeze glutes, press toes and your ball of your foot, heels down. But don't, as you do that, make sure your knee doesn't cave. For the thigh dominant strategy, squeeze your quads as you go up and let them go as you go down to control the motion. For the ankle dominant strategy, really push through your calf and really use your calf as you control the way down. Depending on how strong your calf is, you may be able to take your foot off the step, or you may need to help with this foot until that side gets stronger. For breath work during the movement, what I typically suggest is exhale on the way up, inhale on the way down, as that taps into the deep core to help maintain neutrality instead of excessive bracing through your core. Common errors with the step up is typically related to spine neutrality and then knee movement relative to the hip movement. So what I commonly see is the knee caving in on the way down versus on the way up, because people are more paying attention to on the way down or on the way up. So make sure that you maintain your foot position as you adjust for your hip. Another error that I see is on the step up, people let this side drop, so it becomes like a combined movement. And that's okay if there's intent behind it, but if it's not intentional, sometimes it's just passive pulling on the outer hip. And then the other common error that I see is people's knee snaps back really quickly, and people aren't really using what they think they are, or the knee beats the hip into extension. Notice how I did this and then I did this. And again, that's okay. Like people that I work with that are competing in CrossFit doing tons and tons of reps, they need different strategies. But if this is your default and your dominant strategy, I recommend fixing it. So hip and knee extend together. Knee doesn't go into hyperextension, it goes into extension, 0 degrees, but then it's intentional. It's either with the hip or slightly after the hip, but it's so close that you can barely tell. And then the last one I do see is with the ankle, like very poor ankle control on the way down, and where people, they wonder why they have issues like Achilles tendinopathy or plantar fasciitis. Got to control. If you're taking steps a lot, or you're walking a lot, you gotta use your feet. They're not going to work optimally if you continuously just like lazy walk, lazy step. All right, that's it for this movement. Oftentimes I program this in whatever variation depending on what I'm working on that day. So if I'm working on developing mainly my glutes, I'm gonna definitely do a hamstring dominant strategy or hip dominant strategy. If I'm working on development of my quads, then I will choose something in between that upright and that hip dominant strategy, because so I'm squeezing my glutes, squeezing my quads. And then if I'm working on ankle and foot, I use the ankle dominant strategy. Typically, I will load this with either 2 weights if I'm working on strength, or I'll hold the weight on the opposite hand for balance. And then you could hold the weights low, mid, or overhead, depending on your ultimate goal or what you're training for. Reps and sets, it all depends on how you're utilizing this. If it's a plyometric, and I didn't cover this, like you're adding a jump to it, the reps and sets, you'll have higher sets, lower reps with longer rest. For strength, it'll be anywhere from like a 5 sets of 5 rep scheme to 5 sets of 8 for more advanced, or 3 sets of 8 to 12, 8 to 15, 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 15, or we can do them for time. So there's a lot of options. Your speed is also important to consider. The faster you go, the less time your muscles have to develop tension. So if you're working on building strength and muscle mass, you want a little bit more time under tension. So maybe 2 counts up, 2 counts down, or a little slower than that. Or if you're just working on performance, you want to match whatever the task is that you're working on. You will fit, regardless of what option you take, you're going to feel this mainly in your quad, glutes, and calves. And then your core is working to keep your spine in neutral. Remember not to overbrace. Just brace with what you need when you're doing it. If you have any questions, please comment below. Again, my name is Dr. Jocelyn Conley. And if you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like it, please, for the YouTube algorithm. And then if you know anyone that can benefit from watching this video, please share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.